Kaia Naturals is one of the most unique clean beauty brands out there. The founder is a former Revlon executive turned viral TikTok educator, 1 million followers, Sephora deals, all from building trust by educating about hygiene. But here's the crazy part. They're secretly leaking revenue before the funnel even starts. The pop-up hits you with 4 paragraphs on the first step, as well as the email input field on the same step, the same as 90% of Shopify stores. Just friction for the visitors because they've seen this type of pop-up on every single store they've gone to. So they automatically start to look for the close icon in the top right corner. And if you still give them your email, crickets. There's no welcome flow, there's no system, just a broken confirmation email, both from Shopify and from Klaviyo. I tested this myself from both the footer and from the pop-up. And again, there's no welcome email. Forget a strategy. There's not even a welcome email. And this is the blind spot most brands miss. Even though most brands do have a welcome flow, it's still something that's underdeveloped. Those first 7 days, that's where you build trust. That's where you build momentum by showing why your brand is different than the ocean of competitors out there. Because you see 60-second browsing sessions are just not enough for visitors to build trust and have enough conviction to place that order on the first visit. Especially for niches like this, where the products require a high level of trust, and also because it's a competitive niche. They're probably already using a deodorant. So in this strategy video, I'm going to show you how I would rebuild their retention strategy from scratch, starting from the email collection all the way to loyalty flows that will increase LTV. I'm also going to give you the high converting angles and the templates for the emails so that you can apply them for your brand and see results. If you're running a Shopify brand, this is how you capture and convert using an owned channel without spending an extra penny on ads. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. Right, so this brand is getting traffic on site from their organic content, or if they're running paid ads, okay? And their problem is, and what your problem is, only 2 to 5% of their traffic is converting. That's why the conversion rate is going to be around 2 to 5%. The other 97%, 95% were interested, but for some reason, they did not have enough conviction in the brand, so they left empty-handed. Now, what we need to do is convert around 15 to 20% of visitors into email subscribers. 15 to 20% is basically the limit of how many people are going, what percentage of people are going to subscribe. So that's why we say 15 to 20%. We're going to convert them into email subscribers because this allows us to retarget them using an owned channel, which means we don't have to pay more for ads or personal platforms that we don't own. Okay, and like I mentioned, the first step is email capture. Now we are going to capture up to 10 times more than the average Shopify store. The average Shopify store is capturing around 4% of their visitors and adding them to their email list. But the way we can 10x that, almost 10x that, is using this strategy, which I'm going to show you. We first have a look at this brand's sessions by landing page. We have a look at the significant pages, and we have a look at if they are content pages like blog pages, etc., or if they are product pages or collection pages. And based on that, we'll have different incentives on different pages to match the awareness level, because on product pages, what works best is a discount or free shipping or a free gift with a purchase, so a freebie above a certain amount. But for content pages and blog pages, a freebie like a free ebook works best because it doesn't require them to buy and they are not in a buying mood, they're there to learn something. So these types of incentives work well. And for each pop-up, we are going to test different incentives. We are going to test different formats. So for example, this is one format, this is another format. I do not recommend having the email input field on the first step of the pop-up. You always want to have buttons on the first step because your visitors and their visitors have come across probably hundreds of pop-ups, all asking them for their email. But if we do some sort of pattern interrupt and we don't show the email input field, and we simply ask them a quick question, it works better. And we have tested this extensively, as you can see from the A/B tests over here. And yeah, we're basically going to test every variable possible. So for example, we're going to test the difference by removing the close icon in the upper right corner. We're going to test the speed timing. We're going to test the size of the pop-up, the trigger timing, all of these variables. By testing them, we can get up to 10%, 10 times more capture rate. And then on the pop-up, before we let them go, we need to capture some important data about why they are here. Basically figuring out the best question we can ask them to have a segmented flow that speaks differently to different people based on what they answered over here. And before I go into the flows themselves, there is an important step we need to discuss, and that is warming up the domain. Because all of this is pointless if their domain reputation is bad and if they're landing in spam. So the way we are going to fix that is by using this warm-up infrastructure, which we have developed. It's basically going to automatically segment the email list and strategically send warm-up emails that ask for a reply and I get a link click very strategically. There is a lead magnet on our homepage where I explain how to build this and the whole theory behind this. And basically what this is going to do is get them placement inside of the main inbox. So they're going to go from open rates like this, 14% to 46%. You can see this before and afters, and we can even decrease their bounce rate. So for example, we did this for a brand and the bounce rate went from 36% down to 0%, so perfect bounce rate. After the warm-up is complete, making sure that the domain is solid, our emails are going to the main inbox. We are going to build these acquisition flows. Now you've already heard of the welcome flow, the abandonment flows, okay? Checkout abandonment, cart abandonment, etc. But the flows you have almost never heard about are these flows, the endless nurture flow. Because you see, most agencies and most courses and most YouTube videos just tell you to set up flows that remind visitors to come back, use their discount, hey, here's your cart, hey, you were looking at this product, blah, 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 blah. They are only reminding them. We don't want to remind them. Well, we can remind them, but the reason they left the site isn't because they forgot. The reason is hesitation, objections, not enough trust in the brand, not enough desire for the products, okay? So we are going to fix that using these flows. So first you have the welcome flow. This is going to be targeting the content inside of these is for the highest intent traffic after the people who already purchased. So 3%, approximately 3% have already purchased, okay? The next highest intent are people who are product aware, but they are choosing between Kaia Naturals and another brand they've come across, okay? They're basically weighing the options, which one is best, doing comparisons, etc. Even if they're not doing it actively, this is what their brain is thinking. So what we need to do is, inside of the welcome flow and at the start of the endless nurture flow, we basically need to answer the question, why Kaia Naturals instead of another competitor that is making the same promises, okay? But the thing is, even after the welcome flow, about 90% of people are not going to convert. And that's why the biggest chunk inside of your email list consists of profiles for no purchase. They are about 70% of your email list. If you make the segments, this is what you're going to see. And instead of letting them sit in your email list, having gone through the welcome flow, and now they're just receiving generic campaigns, instead of doing that, you want to have an endless nurture flow that is going to be personalized to non-buyers, where the copy directly speaks to subscribers who have never tried the products, okay? And we are going to use every persuasion angle, which we have derived from time-tested principles of the works of some of the most legendary marketers that have ever lived. We have basically taken those principles and angles, tested it using the email channel, and we have basically kept a record of the best performing angles. We have over 30 angles to build trust, over 20 angles to build desire, and the theory is, if someone has enough trust in the brand and enough desire for the products, and if we keep adding touch points using different angles, this is key, different angles. By the way, you're already spending money to get traffic on site, right? But here's the thing, 97% of that traffic is going to leave after one visit and is never going to come back. We just helped one brand go from 5% to 17% email capture rate by making 3 simple tweaks that you can make as well. There's a free guide in the description that shows you how. It'll take you 10 minutes to implement, but it's going to grow your brand's lifetime asset, which is your email list, 4 times faster. At some point in time, they are going to buy, okay? Now this point in time can be months away, or it can be a few days away. And this is what we do here. We use different angles. And one of the key things to note is each email is about a micro topic, all right? We don't want to overload an email with too much information. We need to keep it digestible, consumable, and easy to understand. So each one of these emails focuses on a type of persuasion, for example, using the logical side, using studies and statistics, using the emotional side by talking about common experiences, using trust association, all of these different types of angles, for example, this one as well, admitting shortcomings. This is a big one for e-commerce, where it's obvious that you are not cheap. Your products are not the cheapest because they can find a similar option in their local brick and mortar store or from Amazon. So you need to handle these objections. And yeah, we have a flow which has about 40 emails, all right? And this is going to span across 4 months. And then alongside the endless nurture flow, because all of these emails are evergreen, which means there are no discounts, they can be kept active when there is a sale going on, like Black Friday, unlike the welcome flow, which you have to turn off or switch because it has a discount and it's going to mess up your sale. when you're running a sale like Black Friday or some other sale that's important to your brand, you can simply switch off the welcome flow, put it on pause, let the endless nurture flow run because it's evergreen content. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why we haven't added all of these emails inside of the welcome flow. And that's why it's part of a separate flow that can keep running all year round. And at the same time of the endless nurture flow, we want to keep giving these non-buyers a chance to buy, trying to push them over the edge by giving them an offer every 2 to 3 weeks. That's where the flow comes in. It's basically a sequence of emails, and this sequence has about 3 to 4 offers that the brand is comfortable to give. All right, and each offer has a sequence: a launch email, a announcement email, a countdown email, and there are 4 of these, and each one of these are about 3 weeks apart. So inside of the 3 weeks, it gives the non-buyers time to get nurtured, get more content, digest more content, learn more about the brand, and at the same time, we are giving them chances to buy, and all of this is automated. That's the best part about this. Unlike campaigns where you'd have to send a bunch of campaigns and just see them vanish, never to be used again, these will keep sending. These are automations. So every future subscriber will receive these. So these flows are going to decrease the brand CPA, get them more conversions, convert more non-buyers that would have left the site and never come back into customers. And then after that, let's focus on LTV. Now, how can we increase LTV using this owned channel? So let me show you. The first flow that's going to impact LTV is the immediate upsell flow. So this is basically a flow where they will have 30 minutes to add a product to their existing order. Okay, it's going to be the same order ID, the same shipment. We'll need an app to set this up, but it can be done. And we basically need to have a look at this data to have a look at what items are bought together. And based on this data, we would have different emails depending on what they bought, and we would give them suggestions on what fits well with the item they already bought, so that they can easily add it to their order in the same shipment. And that's how there is a touch point to increase LTV. And then before we go into getting the second order and the third order, we need to lay ground for loyalty. That's why first we need to have a genuine thank you flow. Okay, a hard thank you from the founder or a C-level person, genuinely thanking them. Please do not use a templatized thank you email. It's going to make your brand look like a cardboard brand that just doesn't have anyone behind the brand. Okay, do not use a templatized thank you email. Use a personal, genuine, heartfelt thank you email. And then after that, we have the review request flow. But this is not just a normal review request flow. You genuinely check in. You ask them, hey, how was your experience? Be personal, be human. And then at the same time, we can get the brand reviews on external platforms. So Google Reviews or Trustpilot or any third-party website, third-party review platform that matters to the brand. There's no point getting reviews on your website, because when customers come across your ad or your content, they're going to Google your name and they're going to look at third-party review websites. They're not going to go to your product page and say, let me have a look at what people are saying. They don't do that. They go to third-party review websites. That's why inside of this email, we strategically direct positive reviews to those third-party websites, and the neutral and the negative reviews, we direct them to an internal Google form so that you can improve your products or your processes or your systems or your customer service. And then we have the endless loyalty flow. This triggers on anyone that becomes a customer. So anyone that buys from a brand, they go through this flow that lays ground for loyalty. You give them value emails. This is not about sales. This is not about discounts or selling. This is to build loyalty. Okay, give value, basically reinforce the fact that they made the right decision by going for this brand, choosing this brand over others, decreasing buyers' regret, making them feel part of a community. So all of that type of content. And then we can start to discuss the second order and the third order. So to do that, we don't just randomly try and predict, okay, when a customer is going to come back and buy. We don't do that. We can have look at the data, the hard data. There's this app called Lifetime. It's free to download. It's 14 days free trial. You only need it for 1 day to get this graph from the app. This basically tells you the time between orders of first-time customers and second-time customers. So it has a look at second-time customers and it has a look at when they reordered. So 80% of second-time customers reordered by day 29. So we would have a flow, the first to second purchase flow, that will start triggering at day 29 and will keep going until day 100. So it's going to go for a few months. It's going to span across a few months. And the content inside of these is basically offer sequences similar to the downsell flow that I presented to you. And this is basically So let me give you some context. We've been running campaigns, ongoing campaigns for quite a few years now, almost 3 years. And we've basically taken all of the best performing sale campaigns, the sale sequences, the sale angles, and we have basically made a flow out of it so that it becomes an automation. And we have some very unique angles. For example, plain text emails that sound super personal, like some very, very personal angles. All right. And for each offer, we have a launch email, a follow-up email, and a countdown email. Okay. And this spans across 3 to 4 months on autopilot, specifically to first-time customers, because first-time customers are your second biggest segment. They're going to consist of about 20 to 30% of your email list. So that's why we need a flow dedicated to those first-time customers. And then we do the same for repeat customers. In this flow, the messaging is different. We treat them as loyal customers and keep thanking them for coming back. And then we also have referral flow. If the brand wants to have a referral program, which is going to trigger on customers who have bought multiple times, because those are the customers that already love your product. And if they can get a discount or points for referring their friends and their family or people they might know that have the same problem, why wouldn't they? So yeah, this is the overview of the retention system. And if I show you what impact this can have, basically it can triple revenue. You can add $150,000 per month to the total store revenue per month. Here is another example, going from 19K per month to 135K per month by implementing this strategy alongside paid traffic strategies. Here as well, added 60K per month by simply implementing this strategy. And yeah, this is the strategy we would use for Kaia Naturals. If you want the templates and the warm-up infrastructure, just go to our homepage, sign up, and you can get them.